Recording in progress.
Being recorded. All right. So again, welcome everyone. And Al will ask as we're going through the session for some names and LinkedIn addresses and that kind of thing. So no worries, when we are there, I'll let you know. Okay. Take it away, Al. It's all you.
Okay. So I'm Al Smith. I ran for president in 1928. I lost to Herbert Hoover. You could look it up. As a matter of fact, I gave a speech one night at the same night as the annual Al Smith dinner in New York. So I was named after him. But anyway, so can recruiters find you? I want recruiters to be able to find you as opposed to just applying and applying and applying into the black hole. And the first screen I'm going to show you is to prove my chops, my Jersey chops. The summer wind came blowing in. I spent a little of my misspent youth at Monmouth Park. Okay, so all that aside, I would like for all of you to start doing some research on the talking heads that you're considering listening to figure out whether you think that they have something of value to give to you. And probably the least important reason why I think folks should listen to me is that I've been in your chair. My background is that I've been at the executive level for seven different companies in 5 industries. So that means one of two things. Either I can't keep a job or I have transferable skills. And every single one of you have transferable skills too. If you're ever around anybody negative or who doesn't think that you have transferable skills, politely excuse yourself and get the heck away from them, because you can't afford to be around anybody negative. And I say that because the last time that I was in job search mode, it was for over 2 years, and I was the most negative that ever walked the face of the earth. And why my wife didn't kick me to the curb, I don't know. I'm serious. I should have been tossed. But eventually, I was drugged kicking and screaming to Roswell United Methodist's job networking event. It's the largest networking venue, job networking venue in the country. And I had no desire to go to one of these things because in my feeble mind, I thought that anybody who went to a job networking event was some kind of, low life, unemployed gutter scum. Wait, Al, what were you at the time? Never mind. But I went there with my next door neighbor, and I was amazed at what I saw. I looked around and I saw about 300 people that weren't gutter scum. They looked like you, and they looked like me, professionals, but they happened to be out of a job. So that moved me so much that the next morning I went to their website and somehow stumbled onto the prayer request page. I don't read people's prayer requests. I don't go in my wife's purse. I'm a very private person. But I read 4 prayer requests that morning. One guy changed my life forever. He said, I've lost my job. I'm virtually penniless. My wife has left me. My house has been foreclosed on. It's about to be foreclosed on, and I'm in total despair. And I knew exactly what this guy was capable of doing to himself because I'd not only contemplated it, I'd picked a spot in the woods behind my house where I was going to blow my brains out. And I didn't want anybody to be in that position if I could do anything about it. So I started volunteering, and I became obsessed with why I wasn't being successful finding a job when I was doing all the same things that I was successful with in the past. And I learned things. I learned about LinkedIn, and I learned about applicant tracking system software, and I learned eventually about artificial intelligence and so forth. And I want to share that with people. And I've been volunteering for over 10 years, and under normal circumstances, I would be volunteering all over, and I guess I still am. And I've been interviewed a bunch over the years. Oh, I'm a genius. I almost forgot. Who other than a genius would go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the middle of November to give a speech? Genius, I tell you. I'm a genius. So we're going to cover a number of things that all of them are in my book, but there's a lot in there that we're not going to cover. So here's what I want to do. I want you to understand how job search is conducted today. I want you to understand why being found on LinkedIn page 1 is essential for you to get a job more quickly. I want you to see how to get there and I want to do some searches, real live searches, just like a recruiter would. So in the text box or the chat, thank you. I'd like for you to put your job title, the job title you want, the industry that you want to be in, and a few keywords plus your name so I can find you. And I'll do searches when this is done. If you're willing, just jump in there and we'll do some searches. All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Al. Make sure that it is the job title you want,
Absolutely.
the industry you want, and 2 to 3 keywords. He mentioned your name. If it's John, put John. If you go by Johnny, put Johnny. If you go by Jonathan, put Jonathan, because all of those will have different results. So what is on your resume, what you are known by, if I were to call you, what is on your LinkedIn, all of those should be consistent. And if you're putting John in the chat box, he's looking up John, not Johnny or Jonathan or any of those things. So you want to make sure that everything is consistent. And he's going to tell you a little bit more of different ways that you can get to the top of the ranking.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Al.
So who in here was a bad employee? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? You're showing my age. So, but for whatever reason, you got fired, you got canned, you were escorted off the premises, you got a pink slip, you got down. I got right-sized once. I wanted to right-size somebody's lip. So what's the first step? Everybody has don't tell me what your first step was. I'll share what my first steps were the last time I lost a job. I went home, yelled at my wife, kicked the dog, and dove into a bottle of booze. Well, it's not quite true. I don't have a dog. The others are true. But seriously, our first step is always to update our resume, find jobs that are perfect for us, click submit along with everybody else in the world that's looking for the exact same job. And then we sit and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. So you're also on job boards. I'm sure you're all on job boards. If you're going to be, I'll do it this way. There are 2 job boards that I don't want you to pay for: ladders and 6-figure jobs. They're passe. They're over the hill. Don't pay for them. If you're going to pay for any job board, temporarily pay for LinkedIn because it helps you in the algorithm. We'll get to that in a little bit. So you're applying to jobs day in, day out, all day, every day, right? But that only accounts for 15 to 18% of the total. The vast majority of jobs are never posted, 82 to 85%. But here's the most insidious thing that I've found in my research for my book. We're spending, no matter what our age group is, we're spending over 90% of our time doing stuff online. And even worse, we're spending 80 to 90% of our time in applying on job boards, which is in exact opposite proportion to where the jobs are, according to those statistics, which means that we're nuts. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody to call in and not doing it. And the further up the totem pole you get, the more difficult it is to get a job through online applications. It's just not going to happen. So how do recruiters find people like you? Notice I didn't say you, because they're not finding you yet. How do recruiters find folks? They have an open job. They have a requisition, it's known as. You would call it your job title. So they type in the job title, immediately add 3 to 5 keywords or long tail strings of keywords that are associated with that job title. They're looking for 25 people. 25 people get a phone interview. 10 people are brought back for the first face-to-face interview. 3, maybe 5 are brought back for the final interview. 1 person gets hired. It's a little bit of an oversimplification, but not much. Christine, how far off am I?
Nope, that's about it. I think with time allotted for those things, it might even be a little bit less, where only 20 people are getting a phone call and 7 to 5 might get that first interview and then second and final.
Yeah.
I've seen and heard from people that they've had 4 and 5 interviews, and I've seen people 1 interview and they're hired on the spot. So
Yeah.
it obviously changes a little bit depending on the size of the company and their hiring needs, but Al is right on the money.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if let's use this as the norm, we're going to have folks on the right and the left, the more or less. So 25 people. There might be 1,000 people in today's world that are applying for your job. They're looking for 25. How do you become one of that 25? Well, here we go. What you want is to get in front of the hiring manager or the recruiter, the talent acquisition manager. But you have to first get past the computer's eyes to get to the human's eyes. If you don't get past the computer, you never get to the human. So you want to get found. And we're going to talk about LinkedIn. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, God, not another LinkedIn workshop. But and you're saying, well, I have a LinkedIn profile. Well, everybody has a LinkedIn profile. And most people's LinkedIn profiles are like a certain part of the human anatomy. We all have one and they smell. So we want to have a LinkedIn profile, a really sharp one, because 93% of recruiters use LinkedIn as their primary search tool, even before a resume in most cases. So question, do you ever do the Google? I loved it when President Bush said, do the Google. I thought that was hilarious. So when you do the Google, how many pages of results do you look at? 1, 2, maybe 3? Well, guess what? What works for Google works almost exactly the same in job search. So if a recruiter is looking for 25 people, when they do a search, there are 10 people per page. So if you're on page 1 or page 2, your profile will be viewed, will be read. LinkedIn gives us 2 sets of statistics. One is called you appeared in X number of searches in a given period of time, which means nothing. I'll show you why that's the case in a minute. What you want to see is how many times your profile has been viewed. That means somebody's eyes have actually looked at your profile. Okay, so if you're on page 1 or page 2, your profile will most likely be viewed. If you're on page 3, your profile may be viewed. If you're beyond that, you have almost no chance. So your goal, again, is to be on page 1, maybe page 2. How do you get there? Well, there's something called SEO, search engine optimization. And I want you to think of SEO like going fishing. If you're fishing for a fish or you're fishing for a job, you need something at the end of your line. In fishing, we call that bait. In job search, your bait are keywords and job title. So I want you to understand how to search on LinkedIn. So when you there are 2 or more words that have to follow in succession, you need to have quotation marks around them. So you search by doing that at first, and then you want to put the links for other things. So if you want this and that, you have uppercase capital A-N-D. This or that capital O-R. This but not
I'm
that.
Sorry, can I interrupt for 1 second? This slide is probably one of the most important parts of this discussion. He's going to go into very detailed information that you should definitely take note of. But this slide is really important. So please take notes. Please do a screenshot. Take notes on the screenshot, whatever you need, because this is how recruiters look for you. And if you don't know this and you don't have it at the back of your hand, then you're not going to be able to move forward with the correct terminology.
Yeah. Now, there are 2 other things that you can use. You can use the plus sign, which means the same as and. You can use the minus symbol, which means the same as not. But what I found on LinkedIn, the words work better than the symbols. So there we go. So now we have to understand some basic search logic. So again, if there are 2 words that have to, or 2 or more words that have to follow in succession, you must have them in quotation marks. What's in the quotation marks or what you're searching for needs to be lowercase, no capitals. So the connecting words need to be capitalized. So here's an example. If I'm a recruiter and I'm looking for an accounting manager, that's the job title, open quote, accounting manager, all lowercase, end quote. capital A-N-D. This person also needs to be a CPA, lowercase. Capital A-N-D needs to have general ledger experience. Open quote, general ledger, all lowercase, end quote. Capital A-N-D, I want this person to have GAAP, generally accepted accounting principle experience. Capital A-N-D, I want this person to be senior in experience, but not entry level. So I have all that, then that's a typical search.
Can
So
we
again, I want you to
go back
search.
to our one slide there, Al?
Mhm.
You have lowercase and the A&D is uppercase, CPA is lowercase. And can you do all uppercase or not? Does that matter whether it's upper and lower?
Well, my experience is that it doesn't work on LinkedIn if you have upper and lowercase in the, you're looking for the specific terms.
Okay, so when you have accounting manager, it's all lowercase and
lowercase.
is uppercase, CPA is lowercase. That's the only way you're going to get results, or can you just leave caps lock on and just do accounting manager and CPA and
No, this I know works all the time.
Okay, that's very, we need to state that. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so let's pretend I'm a recruiter. I'm looking for a vice president of marketing. I'm going to type in vice president of marketing, right? Oh my word, I'm connected to 152,000 vice presidents of marketing. Wait a minute, that's not how a recruiter searches. How does a recruiter search? Oh yeah, they start with the job title and 3 to 5 keywords. Okay, now I remember. So let's look for a vice president of marketing. And I want this person to be in the food industry. And I want this person to be in the consumer products industry. So I have consumer here. And I want the person to have a global experience. And I'm a real smart recruiter. I want to parse out everybody who's not currently seeking. So I'm going to add the word seeking. When I did that, I found that I found 177 people with those qualities that I'm looking for. Oh, by the way, this was a global search because I've got people from Boston, Milwaukee, Washington, Seattle, and St. Albans in the UK.
Are they all in your network?
All in my network. All in my network. All in my recruiter network. I'm not a recruiter, by the way.
Yeah.
So how about if I focus just on the New York City area? Bingo, I get 21 people. Wait a second, they're looking for 25. Hey, 21's pretty close to 25, right? Oh, and believe it or not, the person who is page 1, position 1, his last name is Bright. I didn't make it up, I swear. Okay, so how about if I take the word seeking out? And I'm going to do this for a specific reason. I want to go to arbitrarily to page 10, position 1, for somebody who would never get a call. Never get a call.
What if they are private, Al? Like, would it still come up in those search results?
The private meaning?
The profile is private. It's not a public profile.
I don't think you're going to come up. So you want to make sure that you're out there.
Okay, so if you are in job search, you want to make sure you're out there and you're not private.
So I made a mistake on a workshop that I did Monday. I forgot to click the box to get everybody's email addresses so I could send them the link to get in. So I went to everybody's profile, and one person said, yeah, and I sent a connection request, which I don't normally do. I don't reach out to people because I think it's like spam for me to do it. You reaching out to me, that's fine. But I got to one person and she said you had to have their the email address in order to connect. How can a recruiter get in touch with you? Open up. All right. So let's go to this guy, page 10, position 1. His name is Marco. He's a global vice president of global marketing living in the New York City area. What's the first thing you see about this guy's profile? This is a screenshot of a real person. This is his profile. The first thing I see is he has no about section. That's 2,600 characters with the second heaviest weight in the LinkedIn algorithm. He doesn't have a single character. Now let's go look at his experience. And I bet a lot of you have a LinkedIn profile that looks very similar to this. All he has is the company and the title. There's no content. There's nothing of interest to keep you on his profile. He'll never get an interview. He'll never get a call. He'll never get another job. But let's take a little closer look at this guy's background. He has this job as an associate product manager. He's there only 2.5 years, and he goes to this company where he is now a product manager. So he's gotten a promotion of sorts. He's only there 1.5 years, and he goes to this company as a senior product manager. He's in that position for 4 years, and he's made vice president of marketing. He's only in that job for 2 years, and now he's vice president of global marketing. This guy is good. This guy is fantastic. This guy is like a lot of you. But he'll never get a call. He'll never get an interview. He's stuck where he's at. All right, now let's look at this guy, Mr. Bright, page 1, position 1. He's a vice president of marketing in the greater New York City area, and he works for a company called Core Jensen. Well, when I look at his about section, it's pretty full. It has a lot of stuff. Oh, and by the way, he included his email address so a recruiter can contact him. Now, I would suggest that all of you, especially you ladies, this isn't meant to be sexist, it's just a little safety thing, sign up for something called Google Voice. Google Voice. Google will give you a phone number, and if somebody calls that number, it's sent to your personal number without the originator knowing your phone number. It's a free service. Then you can put your Google Voice number in your LinkedIn profile. If you get a call through Google Voice, you'll know it has something to do with job search. So you'll pick up the phone if it's quiet. You're not going to pick it up in the car with the kids and the dog yelling and yapping. All right. So I look at this guy's about section. And when I started this workshop, the about section had 2,000 characters available to you. He used 1,883 characters of the 2,000. That's pretty darn good. You want content, you want keyword-filled content. I go down into his experience.
Al, before you go on, let me ask about the guy right before, Bright, that you discussed. He had no content. He didn't have an about section. He was a superstar. He promoted. Why won't he get a call? Why do you think that recruiters might bypass him?
Well, I found him.
This guy.
I found him. I used the same search as I did for Mr. Bright here, and I just arbitrarily went to page 10. Recruiters won't go to page 10.
Okay.
They might go 3 pages to get to 25. They're not going to go 10 pages.
Are they looking for something particular on your LinkedIn profile where the guy before had nothing filled out as far as about section or the different jobs, where this guy has a much more information? So
let me go back through this in a minute. I was looking for vice president of marketing in the food industry, consumer products industry, global. These were the keywords, the title and keywords that I as a recruiter was looking for. All these people had these qualities, as does he, but he didn't have enough content, so he wasn't positively affecting the algorithm. So he was pushed down to page 10. So let me go back.
So he's on page 10, and this guy, Mr. Bright, is number
page 1, position 1.
All right.
Page 1,
so LinkedIn is arbitrarily searching for those words, the keywords, and ranking them that way. So if a recruiter is looking, they're not typically going to page 10. They're only doing those first 3 pages. So you wouldn't even come up if you were that vice president.
Correct.
You actually searched him out for this program to show people.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I go into his experience section. He has lots of content there, the 2,000 characters per experience. But he also has some other things here. He's uploaded media. The one on the left-hand side is a YouTube video. The person on the right-hand side is some actress. I don't even know who she is. Going further down, he's uploaded a white paper from when he worked for Colgate-Palmolive. And I guess when Madge for Dishes died, they had to redo anyway. So I'm showing how old I am. So he has other stuff. And remember I said that he worked for Core Jensen? In a couple of months when I was doing this workshop live, he'd been found, he'd been interviewed, and he got another job. He's now at Philips. This stuff works. You want to get found. Okay, and I know what
We
you're
have
thinking.
a question from the audience, and
Yes.
I am going to answer. I don't know if you agree with me, Al, or not. Every LinkedIn webinar I have set in, and I sit in on 2 to 3 Zooms every day
Wow.
for job seekers. And I'm going to tell you, do not pay. Your payment is not going to affect where you come up on the algorithm for LinkedIn. As of this moment, LinkedIn might change it tomorrow. I don't really know, but that is not a factor. And the guy from LinkedIn himself said LinkedIn premium is not a factor, and they choose to show everyone the free services versus the paid.
That's interesting because at one point,
Yeah,
a while back,
you
there
changed it.
was added weight.
Yes, and
So
now there's not.
that's something I'm glad to hear, so I can take that off of this and a couple other workshops, because it always ticked me off
Yes,
that, you know, the
get
play to
more
pay,
for money and
pay to play thing, that always ticked me off, that they would do that.
yeah.
All
The
right.
creator on the team for LinkedIn said himself, do the free, do the basic, do not pay LinkedIn. If you're using every single aspect of LinkedIn consistently, then you might want to consider doing paid premium, but it's not going to boost you result wise for a recruiter when you're
Yeah, there's one caveat to that. LinkedIn will often give you 2 months for the price, or offer 2 months for the price of one. And if you're doing a lot of searches, if you have the free version or the $30 version, you can reach the commercial search limit where they shut you off. They don't let you do any more people searches. I pay for the $60 version because I do searches all day, every day for clients. My wife would look at the American Express bill. We have to pay LinkedIn $60 every month. Yes, dear. Every month. Yes, dear. Why? Because of all the searches that I have to do. So if you buy the 2 months for the price of one at $60, after 2 months, cut it off, because hopefully you won't need it. But it's something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how do you get to page one? Life created a process that I call words to work. Why words to work? Because you have to have the right words in the right quantity in the right location if you want to get found by recruiters for work. Here's how it works in just an overview. You take job descriptions, you use the weight of the algorithm with keywords and job titles so that it pushes you towards the top position, so that when recruiters do a search, they find you. Nice and simple. It's a royal pain in the keister, but you need to understand how the algorithm works, the LinkedIn algorithm. It's all mathematics. The LinkedIn algorithm. No, I didn't say Al Gore rhythm, but I don't promise good jokes. I just promise lots of them. This poor child looks like she's terribly affected for life. All right. So you need to understand the algorithmic factors. And here's where I'm going to have to make a change. Thanks, Christine. The headline is very heavily weighted in the algorithm. We'll get more of that in a second. Title and keywords are exceptionally important. It's always been that way. Where they're placed in the profile matters. The recommendations, when you give somebody a recommendation, when you receive a recommendation, the recruiter probably won't read your recommendation, but the computer will. So if you have recommendations loaded with keywords, it's going to help affect where you're placed. The endorsement section, the skills and endorsements, everybody hates it. I hate it. It carries a little bit of weight in the algorithm. So you have up to 50 things that you can be endorsed for. I would use all of them. The titles of the groups that you're in, the computer reads through those. You can be a member of 50 groups. I only want you to be active in 4. Otherwise, you're wasting time on LinkedIn.
And your head will start spinning.
Yeah, yes, you'll start spitting out pea soup too. There's something called the social selling index. So you need to be active on LinkedIn. When you comment on other people's posts, you need to have 8 words or more. You don't want to
Please
click
no, 8 words or more. Even if you tag somebody, it doesn't count. You still need 8 words or more for it to even count as commenting on somebody's post.
Yeah, so
Very important.
Make it worthwhile. Put something that means something. Oh, I liked your post. That doesn't mean anything. So get into a conversation. It affects your placement. I'm going to skip over LinkedIn Premium, but I want everybody to have objects of interest. One of the things that I personally love, and I can do these in my sleep, is to have what I call a value proposition deck. For me, it's like a resume on steroids. It's very visual. You can put it in a PowerPoint. You can upload it. You can use it in interviews. You can use, especially in your final interview, add a 30, 60, 90 day or 100-day plan of action based on the conversation. Oh, by the way, you don't have interviews. Forget you. Nobody's going to have an interview ever again. You're going to have a conversation. You have a conversation with your boss, right? You don't have an interview with your boss. They put on their britches the same way that you do. So have a conversation. It'll lower your anxiety level. All right. So you can have objects of interest and so forth. Now, each of these sections has characters that are available to you. The headline has 240 characters that you can use with spaces, by the way. But your desired job title isn't 240 characters. So how about adding some keywords to your headline that's associated with your job title so that you're using the weight in the algorithm to your best benefit? Next is the about section. It used to be called the summary section. Christine and I were joking earlier about how LinkedIn just arbitrarily changes things for no reason. 2 years ago, they changed the settings and privacy section, or the privacy and settings section, to settings and privacy from privacy and settings. Why? Don't know. All right. So, and for every position that you've ever had in your career, you have 2,000 more characters. And, you know, in my case, I can go back to when the Dead Sea only had the sniffles. That's how old I am. And don't worry about, well, a LinkedIn profile is not like a resume where you probably only want to go back 10 or 15 years. You can go back forever on LinkedIn, because at one point they're going to say, click here to see X number of more experiences and more jobs. The computer is going to read all that stuff. The recruiter probably won't. So add the content, 2,000 characters for each, use it.
I'm sorry, I have another question now.
Yep.
You had said in the about section to include your email address. And you also had commented earlier about making that a Google phone number and kind of getting aligned so it goes directly to your phone, but it's Google so that any stranger recruiter could not see your actual phone number. Does that help prevent spam as well as anyone seeing your real phone number?
No, I just do it for safety.
Safety.
Here's one of my things. I know you commented on this, but I don't remember what your comment was. You know how there's this new thing where you can click and it puts a green yoke around your neck, says pound open for work.
It's almost on its way out, just so you know, Al. I mean, I just heard that this week.
I try stuff to see what's going to happen. And when it first came out, I tried it, and boy, did I get a lot of spam.
So did I.
Yeah. So I kept telling people, one, to me, it makes you look desperate, but two, you're going to get a lot of spam. So thank goodness it's on its way out.
There's pros and cons to it for while it lasts, as far as the open to work green circle. However, there are probably 75 to 80% cons versus 20% pros. So you have to make the choice of what you want to do and how you want to use it. But most recruiters, most professionals, people that are on LinkedIn using LinkedIn do not see a benefit and see it as an obstacle.
I agree 100%. Okay, so words to work, a little warning about words to work. It's a royal pain. It's a royal PETA. Pain, yeah, okay. But it's highly effective at getting you found. So here's how you start. You want to find a dead minimum of 3 jobs nationally. I don't want to move. I don't want to move. I don't care if you want to move. This is called words to work. You're looking for the words, not the work yet. You want to find the words that recruiters are using to find people like you. Besides, 4/5 of the jobs are never posted. So if you see only 1 job locally, there are probably a handful more that aren't posted. So let's do a search again. Now, the very first client I ever had was a supply chain director. His name was Marvin. So let's pretend to do a supply chain director searching for jobs. Well, when I did put this together, I found 665 jobs in the US. Well, Marvin was in the paper manufacturing business. So I wanted to get this down a little bit. So I added supply chain director and manufacturing, and it went from 665 jobs to 196 jobs that are a little bit more narrowly focused. So the better your search is, the better the results will probably be. Now's when the fun starts. You have to start reading job descriptions. Say, Marvin, is this job perfect for you? Well, I could probably do it. No, Marvin, is this perfect for you? Well, it wouldn't be that bad. Marvin, is it perfect for you? No, it's not, Al. Okay, fine. Let's go to another one. How about this one? Is this one perfect? Oh, baby, if this was here, I'd be all over it like white on rice. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, Marvin. I want you to copy the stuff in the middle. The stuff at the top is usually fluff about the company. The stuff at the bottom is usually the EEOC regs that have nothing to do with the job. So copy the stuff in the middle. Oh, and if you find acronyms, I want you to set those aside and come back to them later because acronyms are almost always important. So we're going to copy the stuff in the middle, dump it into a Word or Pages document just to hold it and get all the jobs that you like, put them in the one Pages document. Then you'll copy all those words, all that alphabet soup, go to a word cloud generator. I personally hate word cloud generators. I use something else that I pay for. You go to, this is the one I found works the best, word it out. Paste where they tell you to, click generate, and voila, you have a word cloud. Now you have to go through every stinking line of this blasted word cloud and pick out the words that are the most important, that you know are the most important for you, the ones that you believe a recruiter would use to find somebody like you. And I want you to get at least 10 of them. Oh, this is where you throw back your acronyms, and now you need to load your profile and your resume. You load your profile with that job title that you want, that they're going to be searching for, and the keywords associated with it. You want to do this as often as you can, but you don't want to do this. There was a person out there from Tampa who sold a service, and I use that in quotation marks, that she said that she would get you to page 1, position 1 if you pay her. And I did a search one day on social media. Who would come up? Page 1, position 1, social media. And this is what I got. This person, this guy. Now you'd figure he'd have social media a number of times if he's in social media. And he has it in his profile normally. But the trick of what she was doing was repeating the same term over and over and over and over and over and over again. Put yourself in the shoes of a recruiter. If you saw this, what would you think? Well, I would think, wait, this person is scamming the system now. So if I hire them, they're going to scam the system later. And bingo, you get tossed out. Pardon?
How old is that example?
This is a few years old.
The reason I ask is that a lot of ATS systems, including LinkedIn, have become smarter. And when you do social media over and over again, it automatically is a ding, ding, ding to any ATS saying this is a fake.
Good.
And it will delete the entire profile because of the words that are in there. So if you do that to your resume, even in white letters, and put it all on there to get to the top of the pile, it'll automatically think that you're not a real person, and it'll discount you and put it to the side or garbage can or however you would like to think of it.
Yeah, and I worked for a company for a short period of time that was tossed off of Google because they did something like this. So LinkedIn was very slow about adopting this policy. Google has had it for years and years and years. So don't fall into this trap. And in one of my resume writing workshops, I talk about the white space myth. And every time, let me go back one bit. If you put, let's say, social media in white font color to be invisible to the human eye, but visible to the ATS, if a recruiter smells a rat, why is this person showing up? If a recruiter smells a rat, they can do a document search just like I did here. And every place that you had it in white print, it would show up as a little yellow blotch. So word to the wise, don't do that. All right. Now, this is where, when you start loading your profile with keywords and job title, this is where I found most books on LinkedIn stop, and most coaches stop. I don't think this is where you should stop. I want you to search your competition. What do they got that I ain't got? So when I did a search 10 years ago for supply chain director, Marvin, I came up with 1,640 supply chain directors that I was connected to. I did this not too long ago, and I'm now connected to over 20,000 supply chain directors. So if I did a searching for a supply chain director today, I might look for supply chain director and plant operations and process improvement and quality assurance and Six Sigma. If you're a supply chain director, these are the things that you would probably want to have in your profile. So I just went from 20,000 to 26, 20,000 people down to 26 that fast. Isn't that exactly what a recruiter wants to do when they're doing a search for somebody and they have a job to fill?
But if you're number 27, that could not be good news.
That's right. Okay, so once again, they're doing a job. Start with a job title, add 3 to 5 keywords. 25 people get a call, 10 get the first round of interviews, 3 get to the final interview, 1 is hired. So how about if we do a deep dive into the top competitors, the best ones? So when I did this for Marvin, this guy, Steve, came up on page 1, position 1 all the time. And as you can tell by looking at Steve's photograph, he must be a genius because he's got his tongue hanging out of his mouth in the LinkedIn photograph. His tongue is hanging out of his mouth. He's not Michael Jordan. His tongue is hanging out of his mouth. All right, I'll stop with that. I think it's funny. All right, so Marvin, take a look at Steve. What does his profile have that yours doesn't? Okay, let me look at it. Hey, Al, why is he on page 1, position 1? I'm better than him. I don't know why he's on page 1. Let's find out. So I did a document search. How many times, let's see, he's a supply chain director. How many times should he have supply chain in his profile? Oh, he had it 34. I wonder how many times Marvin should have it in his profile. All right. Now, if you go through this process on yourself, by yourself, you will improve your profile. Unfortunately, it's not easy, and by yourself, it's almost impossible to find out where you are because you can't search for yourself. It screws up the algorithm. You can't do it. You can't use a first level connections profile to search for you because that too. Now, I do a lot of, and some of you probably know Alex Freund. He's a friend. He was one of the first people to read my first book. And he was the very first person to comment on my first book. And we got together, we think a lot alike. And I think he's a terrific guy. Okay, so we would do a workshop together and he'd have me search for him as a first level connection. And I wouldn't find him until like page 5 or 6. But as soon as I would drop him as a first level connection, bingo, he's on page 1 again. So you can't use a first level connection. Recruiters can because they'll check the box first, second, and third level connections. All right. So you need to use somebody with a huge network has to do it because a recruiter has a huge network. If you have a small network, you're swimming in a very shallow pool, and it would not reflect where you would be in real life. Now, that being said, going through this process on your own will improve your positioning, but you won't know exactly where you are. What I do is every one of my clients is on page one somewhere. Now, I told you I hate word clouds. I despise word clouds. I don't read in circles. So I pay for a service that gives me a spreadsheet. And so when I do this with clients, I get a whole bunch, I get like 12 or 1400 words, go through them and get it down to 50 or 75, and then do an analysis of their profile versus their top competition and give them keyword goals to try to reach. And if they have trouble, I tell them to look at somebody, one of their competitors and or some of my former clients. Then you need to rewrite your profile, and you should do it offline on a Word document or a Pages document, and then copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste all at one time. You'll understand this why in a minute.
I'm sorry, Al, you had said that you don't like word cloud, but the program that you're using seems to give you a lot more information, data to put in an Excel sheet or what have you, so that it's easier to read and you're not counting how many times marketing shows up 5 times and this shows up 3 times or whatever. So what paid program do you use?
It's, what's it called?
Sorry.
It's a visual thesaurus.
All right, I want you to think about it and get back to us, because we do have some questions in the chat box asking what paid, you're using. But word cloud is free, so you always have that option as well.
Yeah.
JobScan, have you used JobScan for something similar to that?
Now, JobScan is something that I think is a useful tool, but you only get, I think it's 5 free scans a month if it's the same as it was. So what I suggest is, and you're going to disagree with me on this one, I know, because you're a recruiter. I hate the idea of rewriting your resume for every job you apply to. In my book, the way I think, if you know what your job title is and you've searched for keywords and you've loaded them in your resume, you have the vast majority of the words that are being used to find candidates. So in my first book, I wanted everything that I knew about job search, but I left out one thing: cover letters, because I'd ask recruiters, you ever read a cover letter? No, we don't have time to. Well, if it has a lot of writing, I might read a cover letter. Okay. So about 3 months after I published my first book, a recruiter friend of mine said, "Hey, Al, have you heard of the rule of 3?" I said, "What the hell is the rule of 3?" Well, recruiters can program the ATS that if you don't have the keywords in 3 times, don't get through. So I'm thinking, how do ATSs work? Okay, they start at the top of the document. Notice I didn't say resume. They start at the top of the document. They fill in their little boxes looking for keywords, fill in their little boxes looking for keywords, all the way to the end of the document. So if I create a 1-page cover letter based on the job description that I'm applying to, save that 1-page document, copy it, paste it as the 3rd page of your resume, then upload all 3 pages at the same time, the computer's going to read it. The recruiter probably won't. So you end up getting through more often. And you don't, the main reason I hate rewriting resumes is because the genius here in front of you used to do that. And I took good stuff out and forgot to put it back in. All right.
You're right. I disagree with you.
And every recruiter does.
And it's okay, because it really depends. It depends is the answer, whether they read, whether they don't. Yeah. In 2021, cover letters are gone and we have e-notes. So it's an e-note introducing you. And I, like Al, surprise, surprise, agree with not rewriting your resume.
Yay.
You might change your headline to reflect the job that you're applying for. But yes, you're kind of in that same realm, applying for that same type of position, but your about section and your accomplishments are your accomplishments no matter what. So
that's it.
Those words are those words. They're industry words. I'm not going to say teaching versus training if I'm applying for a teaching position. I'm a trainer. However, you have to know what the headline is, what you are actually going for, and that's what you're going to change versus the entire resume and those keywords. That's
Ah.
my take on it.
Manna from heaven. That's exactly the gospel.
I don't want you to waste more time and on job search, because job search is hard. Job search is frustrating, and it's disgruntled. Oh my goodness.
It's the
Don't
worst
do
job
that.
you'll ever have.
Spend time doing your profile the way you want it, and networking is key. The
Yes.
hidden job market is huge. So
Yeah. So a lot of people say, well, Al, you're a coach, why don't you rewrite my profile? Well, if I wrote your profile, it would read as if you didn't know what you do.
yes.
You know what you do better than I'll ever know what you do. I give my clients help getting through their profile and moving up. Then
and
there's
that's
something.
why looking at other people's resumes, looking at other people's LinkedIn profiles, the words that you're suggesting, all of this stuff. Look, copy, paste. Do not plagiarize, but do not reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
Very easy.
Then there's something that I call LinkedIn limbo. So you copy and paste everything into your from your Word or Pages document into your LinkedIn profile. Then you fall into what I call LinkedIn limbo, where the spiders in the background that have to do their work, you can't be found for 7 days. I can take your headline verbatim, put it in, or a client's headline, put it in a search, can't find them for 7 days, then poof, they're there. All of a sudden, because there are these things in the background that read all that stuff and affect the algorithm. It's really complicated, but you're gone for 7 days, but it's worth it.
So if you make a change, you are in limbo for 7 days, is what you're saying?
If you make huge changes.
So if you change 2 words, then you're okay. But if you just reinvent, you take stuff off, put stuff on, and totally redo your profile pretty much.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. When we're optimizing your profile, you probably need to make lots of changes. Imagine Marco before, he would need to make tons of changes to improve his profile to get to page 1. So he would be in LinkedIn limbo for a week.
So that the LinkedIn aggregate can read it and then decide where to put him on the result page.
Yes, but it's worth it. Okay, so when my clients redo their profile, they tell me, okay, it's a week later. Most of my clients take it very seriously because they're paying me money. So most of them take it seriously. So I want you to do, oh, by the way, when I do this, I want to make it harder for me to find you, so it's easier for recruiters to find you. Recruiters will use a job title and 3 to 5 keywords. I will use only 1 or 2 keywords with your job title. Okay, so most people take this very seriously. My client Keith didn't. I searched and I searched and I searched, and I was cussing like a sailor. Where is he? I didn't find him until page 9, position 8. And I said, if you want to get to page 1, you better get with the program. And so, okay, yes, I will, I promise. So he tweaked his profile. The second time I searched for him, he was on page 2, position 3, out of 67,000 people globally with his job title. That's not good enough. I wanted him to be on page 1. So he tweaked some more. And when I searched for him, Chief Marketing Officer and the word global, he was on page 1. Chief Marketing Officer and branding, page 1. Creative, page 1. Integrated, page 1. Strategist, page 1. Healthcare, page 1. Medical, page 1. And this past week, a week ago today, I got an email from Pablo in Houston who wrote this about how effective it was. He, in those 3 days last week, he'd gotten 4 calls from recruiters. 4 calls from recruiters, and I searched for him, page 1, page 1, page 1, page 1.
I know that there's a lot of people that are curious. This is a 2-part question. Are those from what page, Pablo? Are they all recruiters reaching out to him, or did he apply to jobs and he's getting a response from the jobs he applied for?
These are recruiters searching for him and calling him,
proactively
calling him.
That's so they just found him, they're looking, and they reach out. If you have a private LinkedIn profile, you're not public and recruiters can't necessarily find you, what's causing recruiters to just reach out and see if you're interested in their job? I mean, why are people getting calls if our LinkedIn is not public? And that was a question earlier.
Yeah, well, if you're public, you'll get calls. If you optimize. If not, I mean, why do you have a LinkedIn profile if it's private?
Yes, it should be public if you're on LinkedIn. The reason they might get a call is if you're on a different job board, or if you are on a job board 60 years ago and your information hasn't changed and still out there, you might still get a call because you might have changed jobs, be unemployed, or be in the same job, and they want to reach out to see if you're interested. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons that they could still reach out to you, even if LinkedIn is totally brand new and you're not on there yet or public.
Yeah, and he had two very similar job titles. He was a CFO, which you don't put CFO. Oh, and if you're in technology, you don't work in IT. You work in information technology. Why do I say this? Because T follows I a lot. Like in my name, SMITH. So spell it out. If you want to put CFO or whatever, put it in parentheses after you spell out your desired job title. So whether I looked for him as a CFO or a vice president of finance, he was on page 1 the entire time. Okay, that being said, you're in job search. You're depressed. You don't like what's going on. Keep in mind, there's always somebody with it worse off than you. I love this quote by Nietzsche. And those who were seen dancing were thought insane by those who could not hear the music. Stop and listen to the music. It's playing all around you all day, every day. You will get a job. You will get hired. It may not be as soon as you want, but it's going to happen. The only things that will keep you from the results that you want are the doubts that you have today. You will get hired. Oh, I'm not going to show you that. Oops, sorry. Here's some upcoming events. I promise not to do that. Sorry, I thought I deleted that one. 2 events that I'm going to be up to working at this coming Monday, Roswell United Methodist. If you go to RUMC Job Networking, you can sign up. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. I do the resume writing workshop. The following week, I do a 90-minute. The following Monday, I do a 90-minute words to work. So it gives you a lot of other stuff that are, of course, all free. If you want to get in touch with me, look, just type the hired guy on LinkedIn. You get me, or send me an email if you have a question.
Screenshot, guys, screenshot, write it down, whatever you need to do. A lot of good information. We do have several questions.
Okay, let me stop this share.
Al, are you ready?
You betcha. And I'm gonna actually do a different share where I gotta go to here. Okay, and there. And we're gonna do some searches, I think.
Yes, we are. Let's do these questions. And
you bet.
If you do all this on LinkedIn, how important is it to enter the job description for each employer on LinkedIn? So for each job that you have on LinkedIn, instead of entering the job description, you're entering the accomplishments that you did while you were there. So what you did above and beyond. You're responsible for XYZ. That's the reason you were hired. But while you were there, you brought up blah, 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 percentage points, and you increased dollar amounts by this point and blah, blah. Those are accomplishments. So responsibility is accomplishments. And you're putting those accomplishments on there, again, using keywords. So you're not ever copying a job description.
And if you you don't win awards, you earn awards. I got them all over the place. You earned awards. Make sure that you state that you are a multiple award earner.
For what? I want to know why. Most recruiters are going to want to know why. Was it because they ran out of people and they just picked you because you're left, or did you do something important to win that award, to earn that award?
Explain.
So there should be a very short explanation, not paragraph, not 4 sentences, but one sentence of what you did to earn that award from everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
And you're not bragging about yourself. You're not breaking your elbows, patting yourself in the back. These are just the facts.
yes.
You're stating facts.
Yes. We shouldn't be taking someone else's about section word for word. No, never. That is plagiarism, and you can get thrown off LinkedIn platform, let alone any place else. And
But
you
you
should
need
never
ideas.
plagiarize. People do it. People are wrong. Always come up with your own words. Do not plagiarize, but do not beg, reinvent the wheel. It's there. You're not the only organized person in the world. You're not the only project manager in the world. There are lots of us, but what else you're bringing to the table makes you who you are. So you can beg, borrow, and steal what they have, but then make it your own.
Yep.
An e-note. What is an e-note? Well, an e-note is everything you do right now, guys. If you use email, that's your cover letter. Put your cover letter e-note in the body of your email and only attach your resume. Not a cover letter with the resume, and that's where Alan and I differ. LinkedIn might be looking for the words that are in your cover letter, but a recruiter is never going to read it. They're more likely to read your introduction. Hi, I'm Christine. I'm applying to blah, blah, blah. I have this accomplishment, that accomplishment, and call to action. I look forward to connecting with you, having a further conversation, blah, blah, blah. That's an e-note, short, sweet, to the point, less than 500 words in the body of an email.
And I haven't done this yet, but there is a way to add an audio message.
Yes, there is.
And I haven't done it yet, but
on LinkedIn or on an email?
I think it's on LinkedIn, but I won't swear to that.
It is, but you have to have LinkedIn stories. So it's not rolled out to everyone. It's in the process. It's one of those changes that is starting to take place. In addition, there are other things that, there's all kinds of changes LinkedIn has enacted this week. And one of them is that video. The other one is they are piloting putting your preferred pronouns in your headline. So in addition to whatever's in your headline, you can put she, he, hers, they, them, whatever your preferred pronouns are without taking away from your headline words. Not sure if you were familiar with that, Al.
No, I still don't understand it. But
well, I think that's great. It's definitely promoting inclusivity, diversity, and recruiters might be looking for people that have filled that out. So that's kind of coming down the pike. It hasn't been rolled out to everyone just yet.
While we're at it, I clicked on somebody, and I was actually looking for the background banner.
Yes.
But this person has the people also viewed on. And as you improve your profile, these 10 people will be closer and closer to you as your competition. I see recruiters love this because they can click on Amelia here and say, oh, let me look at her profile and never go back to you. So yes. I'm going to click on another one. These people all have good backgrounds. This person doesn't. You can go to a website called Pixabay, and get free, really good, high quality photographs. The first line are for sale. Everything else is free. So why don't you do what some of these other people did? Let me skip that one. And have a background that expands your brand. My brand, I'm the hired guy. People started calling me the hired guy, so I put that as mine. So I interrupted. We'll go to your next question.
I could literally talk to you about LinkedIn and all the options for, I could talk about job search for 30 hours. I could talk about LinkedIn for another 30 to 60 hours because there's just so much there and do's and don'ts and changes and that kind of thing. So, but it's very easy for Alan and I to just kind of go off on a tangent about something. I'm just trying to answer those questions.
Yeah.
In the current state, how many companies are using recruiters, given there is a large pool of unemployed people applying to jobs? Well, I'll answer that. There are 1.3 million people that are unemployed in the state of New Jersey alone. Our unemployment, even though numbers are getting better, according to news reports, those are only new unemployment claims. It's not counting people that have been unemployed for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or long-term unemployed a year, year and a half. That doesn't count, just the people that applied. They're using recruiters, every industry, every job, because they can't get people to apply to their jobs. And you're going to find recruiters that are working independently, recruiters working on LinkedIn, recruiters that are working just internal using Monster or Career Builder or Zipper. There's 263 ATS systems, let alone how many job boards, and every industry and every specialty. So it's not a bad thing, but you can't do them all, because your focus should be on networking, not on applying online. Exactly. 2% of people land a job from applying online. And that's where Al's speech comes in. You want recruiters to find you. You don't want to go out and apply to jobs and read job descriptions. And this is a way to boost your LinkedIn profile with those keywords so that they're bringing your phone and you're not calling them. Yeah. And you can have that conversation.
You want to get the calls.
Yes, you want to get the calls, and it's one less thing for you where you can concentrate on the 85% of people land through networking. You want to concentrate on networking because that's going to give you the best result.
Yep.
A lot of recruiters ask to connect to me on LinkedIn. Should I accept them even though I don't know them? I also have non-recruiters asking to connect to me. Should I connect to them? We may differ. Go ahead, Al. What do you think?
You can't have too small, you can't have too big of a network in when you're looking for jobs, but you can have a too small of one. And some recruiters won't even, they figure you're not keeping up with the times if you don't have 500 plus connections. But more importantly, or maybe I think more importantly, is that when you find a company or a job that you're interested in, you're going to want to find somebody on the inside that can help you. You can say, I've applied to this job with that requisition number, and I'm a really great fit. Can you try to get my resume out of the queue and into the hands of the right person? You know, you can't lose a job. You can't get fired from a job you ain't yet got. So if you have too small of a network, you can't find those people. If you have a great big network, you can find a lot more people.
Al, I have a couple of messages. Can you please display the contact info page, the last slide that you had?
Sure. Actually, why don't I put it in the
chat box?
Yeah.
All right. Please look for his contact information in the chat box. If you did not hit press screen or print screen or take a picture on your phone. So. A lot of recruiters asked me to connect. We talked about that. Al gave you his answer. Recruiters, yes, because you want to be strategic. People that are non-recruiters that would like to be in your network, is it customized invitation or is it I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn? Take it for a grain of salt. I view that as how many people do I know that they're connected to? And if I don't know that they're connected to anybody in my network already, I am definitely using caution. You have to remember your LinkedIn network is your baby ducks. You are mama duck and these are your babies and you have to protect your connections. With that said, can you help somebody who wants to connect with you that is from, I don't know, Bangladesh? Can you not? How can you benefit from networking with that individual? Maybe you can, maybe you have something in common and you want to connect with the guy from Bangladesh. I don't really know. And that's going to be a personal reaction. So you have to do your due diligence and your research instead of automatically hitting connect. Is it going to benefit you? Are they sending you a customized invitation that says, hey, you posted blah, 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 and you comment and it was great, blah, blah, and I would love to continue that conversation, whatever it happens to be. Then you know that they've done some research and not a just blank, I'd like to connect with you. You need to know and do your own research. And you can disconnect to people as well.
Yeah, I'll drop somebody like a bad habit if they try to sell me something.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people that do the same. So you would not be the first in that respect.
Yeah.
So
if you wanted a screenshot of my contact information, there you go.
All right. So if you want to find out more about the webinars, reach out to Al. Did you say you're going to put the screenshot? I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's on the screen right now. Please take a picture with your phone or screenshot on your keyboard on a Word, or what is that? Not a Mac. All the other ones, not a Mac. Screenshot is at the upper right-hand side. Press screenshot and it's in your mouse. Right click to put it in your Word document. So, Al, can you show us a little bit? I do have some people that have put their information in our chat box so that you can look them up and use them as an example. Okay. For those of you that did, thank you so much for having us. Use you as an example because I think we can all learn a little something just by viewing somebody else. And I do appreciate that. All right, so what do we got? Ruth Fitzgerald, Human Resource Generalist.
Okay.
So it's Ruth Fitz,
got it.
No space, capital G, Gerald. She's a human resource specialist, no S, human resource specialist.
And that would make a difference.
I know it would. I don't know.
As a matter of fact, I tell a story in Words to Work that about a guy who has been volunteering with me at Roswell United Methodist for at least 10 years. He's a Scrum Master. And I didn't know what a Scrum Master was back then, much less how to spell it. But I thought it was SCRUM space MASTER. When I searched for him, then I was connected to 13,000 Scrum Masters, couldn't find Charlie anywhere. Then I saw he spelled it SCRUM MASTER. When I searched then, I was only connected to 1,500 Scrum Masters, and there Charlie was. So I said, Charlie, what I want you to do is every place you have Scrum Master, I want you to add or Scrum Master. And by making that one change throughout his profile, he went from you can't find him in 13,000 people to the middle of page 2. He's found. All right. So any other keywords? So you have generalist and
Ruth, you can take yourself off mute if you know you're still around. That's all I have from you.
Okay, so I'm going to click here and then I'm going to click people, and I'm going to add one other thing. I'm assuming that Ruth is in the greater New York City area.
Let's assume. I don't know.
New York Metropolitan. I'm going to show results. And I went from, okay, so human resource specialist. And we're going to go 5 pages looking for Ruth. And she's not on page 1. And she's not on page 2. She's not on page 3. She's not on page 4. One more page. And not on page 5. Okay, so I'm going to go to Ruth.
Gerald, the G is capital. It's Fitzgerald, but does that matter? I don't know.
No, this won't matter.
All right.
Okay, so Ruth Fitzgerald, and Human Resources Professional, Long Branch, New Jersey. One, if this is you, I hope this is not actually. You really need to have a picture, and you need to have it displayed. You must get more connections. Nobody's going to be able to find you. You want to turn people also viewed off. You do that by going to settings and privacy. And I hate this landing page. And you'll scroll down to people also viewed, slide this from yes to no, and those people will disappear forever. You want to do that.
That goes for everyone.
Everyone, turn that off. Okay, so other things, you have no about section. It's the second heaviest, and the title that we used was human resources specialist, and this reads human resources plural professional. So that would make a difference as well.
If that's the same Ruth Fitzgerald, can you imagine two Ruths with?
It must be, because look how it's spelled. Capital G.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
this must be Ruth.
Yeah, okay.
It must be Ruth.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's try somebody else. Let me get.
Okay, Rob Conn, C-O-N-N, project.
Okay, let me get rid of all this stuff.
Project manager and little, asterisk, and system/data analyst.
S-Y-S-T-E-M, dummy, S-Y-S-T-E-M. Okay, make sure I have that all in there. And I'm assuming once again that Rob is in the greater New York City area. If you're not, say something. Project manager and data system analyst. And we're looking for Rob. And that was only 8. So let's open this up. Take this out and show results. We go from 8 to 239. And
I once did a project manager search as a recruiter in the Red Bank area, and I got over 1,000 results for just project manager.
For project manager,
that's how this is a big deal to have the right words in the right order and all of that.
So when I search just for project manager, I'm connected to 9.3 million project managers globally. So let me go to.
And you don't have time to go through them all, Al? I don't know.
You bet. I go through them all the time. Rob, and it's C-O-N-N.
N.
Let's see. We don't know where Rob is.
Conn. I'm thinking it's the second one.
Okay. So me looking in New York wouldn't find you very.
No, that's Wyoming. That's not him.
Okay.
Back arrow. The second one coming down. Rob Conn. What is that? Oh, that's West Virginia.
We got North Carolina. We have Carmel, Indianapolis, and you.
I'm sorry.
I think Mount Carmel. I know Carmel that's Illinois. I'm sorry. You want to use the metro area because recruiters can come from anywhere in the world. They all know where New York is. They don't know. They might not know where Sparta, New Jersey is.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Okay,
very true. So, LinkedIn is more of a bigger range as far as job location goes. And when you start to use something like a Facebook, you can put in a particular city. So the location is more specific, where LinkedIn is more of a general area.
Okay, so I think this might be Rob. The greater New York City area. This is something I really hate seeing in the headline. You have 240 characters. You can put seeking new opportunities anywhere. As a matter of fact, I suggest I suggest this line, and I'll tell you why first. 4 years ago, during the holiday season, all of a sudden I got 3 new clients who are all currently employed, but looking for a different job. So I'm thinking, how in the world can I get seeking in their profile without it having a red flag for their employer? So I came up with this line, and a variation for each of them. Earn the reputation for always seeking new opportunities to improve, fill in the blank. And you can leave it there forever.
And you could put it in your about section so that it's not in the headline, so that A recruiter doesn't see that you are desperate or make any judgment call based on those words.
Okay, so
you are what
nowhere,
you are. You're not a seeking person. You're not an unemployed person. You are on a zookeeper. You're anything that you want to be, but you're not seeking opportunity because that doesn't define ourselves.
exactly. And Rob, if you are known by Rob, you need to change this from Robert to Rob. Nowhere in your headline do you have your job title, your desired job title. You need to have that because this is the heaviest weight of the algorithm. Recruiters are going to search by job title and keywords. So you want to have your job title, and don't think I'm picking on you because this is just to help people. I very much like the fact that you have lots of content in your about section. I would like for you to use your job title in here often. And you could say multidisciplinary job title, full job title, and then competency synopsis as job title, data analysis work as, and use your job title again without it reading as if you're keyword loading or keyword overloading. And I would like to see lots more content here. You have 2,000 characters available to you. Obviously here, same thing. I like the fact that you have uploaded some kind of media. Get rid of that. It doesn't come up easily. And again, more content. So that's Rob. Let's see if we can't get some more folks viewed. If we can find somebody.
Al would love to go through everyone's profile, but there's obviously not enough time.
Sure.
So I'm just kind of picking out anybody that put in the chat box their information. Next one we have is Evan G. Romanoff. So EVGENIY Romanov, ROMANOV. Job title, implementation consultant. Business analyst, comma. Keywords, software deployment, comma, financial system implementation, comma, treasury systems.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't type that fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My wife, before she had a minor stroke,
She still types faster than you.
she used to type. She was a secretary, legal, and her name is Terry, so I call her secretary. Joke intended. She used to type 95 words a minute accurately. So she was an executive secretary.
We all have our strengths. That's not
mine. And that ain't one of mine. So give me another set of keywords.
Financial systems implementation, treasury systems.
Okay, so I'm going to use this, and I have.
Evgeny, I'm sorry, I'm probably chopping it up. EVGENIY. EVGENIY Romanoff.
Here we go.
Number 1.
Okay, so fintech would have been good. Systems implementation. Let's see if I have system implementation. Aha. This is what was catching us. Let me get rid of this. Go back here. System implementation. And you don't have consultant until much later. So let's look.
And it says implementation consultant. It doesn't say system implementation.
Exactly. So let's try again. Let's see what we do. We only had 3 before. Now we have a whopping 17. So we might want to look at that job title a little bit. And let's look at your profile itself. All right. I'm glad that you got rid of the people also viewed. Congratulations. I like the fact that you have expanded your brand. with this banner behind you. So people get the idea of what you are about immediately. You're planting the seed that you are doing systems implementation. All right. Your about section has a fair amount of content. I would like to see you get your contact information, because a recruiter, oh, here's another reason why I was having trouble. For some reason, we're first level connections. So I couldn't find you. If I dropped you, I might be able to find you. And you're in London. So, oh, you must have been in the Easter job hunt. Good for you.
Well, thank you for joining us. The reason that Al is telling you to put your email in the about section. You see jobs posted on LinkedIn all the time. Some of them have a recruiter license and have access to your contact information. Some people are just putting it out there. And if you are interested in that job, but you're not in their first or second line connection, they can't get in contact with you because they can't see your contact information. If you put in your about section, your email address, then they can reach you. A lot of people are starting to use Canva, a free site, to use for your background, the second picture of your LinkedIn, and put in an email address for contact information right there. So LinkedIn was taking off points for that, and now they're not so much. That's, again, another LinkedIn change.
Yeah.
But it will help you to be recruited.
Yep. So then let's make it easy for recruiters to get you. But oh, by the way, the recruiter package that a lot of recruiters, independent recruiters, can't afford, it's because it's $1,000 a month. Unless they've gone up, they probably have gone up. The recruiter light, is it $120 a month or
that is in debate whether it's going to stay or go. Yes, so we might have a business and then recruiter, and there's not going to be an in between. So that could hamper your success in landing a job as well.
Yeah. So let me go to somebody that I'm not connected with. Let me click on this guy. I'm sure I'm not connected. If I go to his contact information, I don't have any email address. Since we're first level connections, you have your email address and I could contact you. But if I'm a recruiter and I don't pay for the $1,000 a month, how do I get in touch with you? So adding your contact information is a smart thing.
Because there's so many recruiters, a lot of people, because of the state of unemployment, a lot of people took a job as a recruiter for short-term or long-term, changing careers, whatever it happens to be, maybe getting their foot in the door, and they don't have access to the recruiter license on LinkedIn. Yet they still use LinkedIn on their own personal account to post those jobs, let people know they're hiring, interviewing, and that kind of thing. So having another backup, whether it is a phone number that's through Google to your cell phone or an email that you can hit delete or whatever, it's always a really good idea to not only have your contact information in your contact information, but to have it in a different place that the public can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you explain, you had mentioned earlier, and I wasn't, anyone in particular, but to spell out CFO as opposed to having those letters CFO, why would you have to do that?
Okay, so let me look up CFO. Okay, and we're looking up people. I'm connected to 1.2 million CFOs. Now I'm focused. I'm more focused. CF and O can be anywhere.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit more focused.
Better
here.
to spell it out as opposed to, what about putting both of them in there?
How about that?
Does everyone see those results?
Actually, I'm going to give you an example. Jeff Bohm was a client. What does he do? Something with finance. He's a CFO, Chief Financial Officer, CFO. If you look in his about section, he has Chief Financial Officer who's built blah, 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 blah. And he says, these are just some of the driving factors contributing to my success as Chief Financial Officer. Now he has his title twice. Throughout my career as Chief Financial Officer, key highlights as Chief Financial Officer. He could have had a fifth one by adding competency snapshot as Chief Financial Officer. So he got found, he got interviewed, he got hired.
I have witnessed that myself in resume writers, in searching for interview coaches, consultants, counselors, any of those things. The more often you repeat yourself in plain English in a sentence in your about section, the higher you go in results.
Yep.
If you only mention it once in your headline, you're going to that bottom realm because you're not using, and that's a very easy way to boost your ratings on the being found by recruiters.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take too much effort or thought process as you're going through it.
You know,
so try that first.
Yeah, we didn't create the rules. We just read the rule book.
Right.
And we want you to take advantage of the fact that we read the rule book and
We're
understand.
telling you the secrets. You got to take advantage of the secrets.
I went through this. I went through 2 years. When you start to get these
skills and endorsements, is there something that stands out that's more valuable than another, or a school that's more valuable? I mean, there's several schools that might teach the same type of program. How does that get ranked with LinkedIn?
Yeah, I don't know if there's weighting with that. I haven't discovered weighting for it. If they're looking for somebody with a specific degree, then they're going to look for that. And chances are really good that's going to affect the younger people more than old farts like me.
Unless you go back to school.
Sure. Yeah.
So what about certifications then? Does that matter? I mean, if you have, I don't know, a horticulturalist on your profile as a skill, but then you have your degree in horticulture arts. Is there a difference between those two, or how does that
Horticulture
work?
Came in a couple of times there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there a difference between taking classes on LinkedIn Learning or lynda.com for horticulturalist versus getting a certification, a certificate, a degree in horticulture?
Well, there's a section for certifications, and that would, of course, I mean, I would use that as many times as possible, just to positively affect the algorithm in my favor. And having the certification means that you've done the work. There are a lot of great ways that, right now you're in job search mode, and they're going to wonder what you're doing during this employment gap. Well, if you get a certification, whether it's through Udemy or Coursera or LinkedIn, I mean, right now Tableau is free. You can get a certification in Tableau for free. If you're in tech and you don't have it, why not get it?
Just so you know, Google has lots of offerings for free IT certifications.
Yeah.
Free. And of course, if you are a Monmouth County resident, our Skill Up program, you can learn anything for free. The metrics library is huge, and it's anytime you want. So Saturday night, 2 a.m., feel free to do that work if you would like, whatever works for you. Yeah. So there is no limit. There's lots of things that are for free. So I love free.
So do we want to do another one, or are we going to pull the plug here?
We have, let's see. How do you change the who else was viewed again? How do you do that again?
Okay.
Slowly, please.
So we'll go to click on the little picture of yourself in the top right-hand side. I call mine the roach killer. Then I'll scroll down in this drop-down box to where it reads settings and privacy, which 2 years ago was privacy and settings. We'll click on that. You're sent to this page, this landing page, and you'll click on account preferences, and you'll scroll down to where it reads people also viewed. They just changed this, by the way. It used to read viewers of this profile also viewed. It was a royal pain in the keister. So you'll slide this from yes, which is what it's on now, to no, and those people will disappear forever. Oh, by the way, when you are changing your profile a lot, and you will be, where is it here? You're going to want to turn off profile. No, that's not it. Where the heck is this thing? I hate this page. We used to be able to find everything nice and easy. Try again. That's not it.
Is it edit profile? Edit profile?
Well, temporarily, you want to turn off the people when you're active. When you do something, you want to turn that off for a while.
Here, go up. Profile viewing options.
I don't think so. No, you have 3 different things. Oh, by the way, if you want good views, and recruiters are almost always anonymous or in private mode, so you want to see people that are looking at your profile who are in private mode. Those are almost always recruiters.
If you want to stalk somebody,
yeah,
then anonymous is always a good thing because they can't see you and nothing comes up except anonymous. There's a lot of pros and cons. This is next to editing your public profile. Every single tab and drop down, this is the most important part of LinkedIn. So you should take advantage and look at every single tab that LinkedIn is offering before you do any edits to your profile, before you upgrade it, before you add CFO over and over again, whatever you do, because you need to know the strategic result of what you're doing. And the only way you'll do that is by going through all of these different tabs that are all under your profile picture. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
I didn't find what I was looking for.
Keywords kind of, no, who else viewed again? We talked about that. Did you remember the name of the site for the word cloud?
Word it out.
Word it out. Word it out.
And I'm gonna go here, Pixabay, for free photographs. Now, let's put finance. So now they're going to give us a whole bunch of pictures about finance. These up here at the top, these are for pay. Everything else is free. And they're really high quality pictures. And you can choose something that speaks to your brand.
A lot of people also use Canva, C-A-N-V-A, to design your own background picture.
Yep.
You can design invitations. You've probably seen a commercial on television or YouTube about Canva. Canva is a wonderful product. I use it every week when I post videos about our speakers. And it's called a thumbnail. It's very easy to use. You can design and implement all of these things, and again, for free. There's a paid version, there's paid examples, but I always use the free one. So definitely check that out, when you have spare time, because, you have so much spare time and all. So I don't think they're going to let you go. Okay. If all is looking for alerting your network when changes are done to your profile, this is no longer done in LinkedIn. If Your alert, all you're looking for.
What was that?
I'm trying to figure out what he means because it's text or speak. Not really sure what you mean, Victor. How many times do you recommend to comment, post to LinkedIn to increase your profile visibility?
Oh,
Yeah. Go ahead, Al.
I think you should be out there. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Yes, that's true.
So you can be a member of 50 groups. I recommend being active in 4. And you want to start posting material, because when a recruiter has a difficult time finding real good candidates for a job that they're looking to fill, lots of times they'll become a member of an industry group. And the people who are seen as the most active are thought of as thought leaders. And LinkedIn tells us you can increase your views. I think it was 1,300%, some just audacious number. And you can't come up with all that information by yourself all the time, right?
It takes a community. There are thousands of groups on LinkedIn, from everything from job search to career search to networking, what we're doing right now. All the networking groups, they're on LinkedIn. If you want to be in the Jersey Shore Surf Club, guess what? There is a group on LinkedIn. If there's not a group that you have an interest in, you have the ability to create your own if you so choose. So see what's out there and Google under groups. Look under groups on LinkedIn. You're going to use that search feature and see what's out there. There's a career builder group. There's a monster group. There is a group for everything. Every networking organization that you're in, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, there is a group. So stuff that I've talked about, along with Book Lovers Club, there's a group. I mean, everything, whatever you're interested in. It could be personal and it could be professional. So networking groups, definitely figure it out, because everyone is different and everyone's interest is different.
So you can have content come to your inbox by creating a Google alert. So let's put, what do we want to do here? Let's just put something generic, manufacturing. The pandemic made manufacturing stronger. So let's see, that's an interesting title. Let's see if it's interesting or not. Well, that's blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's see. That's kind of interesting. I can copy the URL, go to bit.ly, which will shorten that URL.
Bit.ly, B-I-T-L-Y.
B-I-T-L-Y.
Write it down, guys. You need to know.
I paste that long URL in there, and it makes a much shorter one.
That's how they use it on Twitter.
Yeah, you can use it on, absolutely. You only have a few characters. But now I can go to my homepage, and I can say something about the article and then put the URL there.
Yes.
It'll populate it with art.
Yes.
If there was art, you can use that to populate it. If not, you can add art, and you always want to have art. I'm just going to do one. Oops, I have to.
Al is correct, and you don't have enough hours in the day to read everything, to educate yourself on everything. If you just pick one outlet to follow, to share, you can share that with your network because you truly believe in, I don't know, horticulture or dog grooming or manufacturing, whatever it happens to be. And people can comment and post on it, but a recruiter sees that you are sharing content and you're trying to educate your fellow connections. That is a really, really good thing.
Yep.
So definitely take advantage of it.
And there's
Don't
something called the
spend a lot
social
of time on LinkedIn, but don't not spend time on it and spend more time on Monster or Zip or wherever. Spend more time making that networking connection.
Yeah, there's something called the social selling index, which helps in the algorithm as well. So get active, be a squeaky wheel.
Yes.
Get some grease on you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is it essential to have a background photo on LinkedIn? Yep.
Yeah.
My opinion, yes, absolutely. I don't know anyone that would tell you no. So you should have two photos, one of you and your eyes and as close as possible, and the other one, your background information about your company if you're working, about you and your job, or about your hobby. I've seen people that love to bicycle, that have bicycle riders on a mountaintop or wherever. So I've seen a little bit of everything, but the more professional, it's better for you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and LinkedIn is known as the world's largest professional network. So yes. I would, if you're going to be on LinkedIn, I would suggest you stay professional. What you do on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, I don't care. You're not going to find me on any of them. This is my baby here.
And
even though I have a love-hate relationship with it.
I see a lot of thank yous. Thank you. Anyone else?
Anybody else want to be a guinea pig? We'll do one more, and then it's noon. Anybody? No?
I know it's taking you a really long time.
You know what? For those of you who are not from New Jersey, you don't think of New Jersey as Newark. New Jersey's a beautiful state.
I live at the shore. Come on, you know, sandy beaches and all that good stuff, right?
And then on the other side, it's, the hills are phenomenal.
I would love to volunteer, but it's a blank canvas right now. Just kind of getting the ins and outs from my LinkedIn to figure out what I want to do and how to proceed. So that's what I got.
Okay.
This is very short summary of LinkedIn and why you want to use those keywords and where to place them and how to place them. But definitely check out YouTube. It goes through the different steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3 of how to create and enhance your LinkedIn. And always remember, LinkedIn, it makes changes every day.
Oh.
So it definitely keeps us on our toes. And what was once the golden rule is no longer, but then there's something else. So they're always updating and keeping it fresh. So,
yeah.
All right. YouTube, www.youtube.com/C/Christine Dykman. You will get an email this afternoon, hopefully, from me with that link to the YouTube video that we are recording right now with Al. Al, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge of LinkedIn and keywords and how recruiters can better find us, because that's so important when we are in knee deep in job searching.
Yeah.
So, all right, great.
Well, I thank everybody for being here. This was fun.
Have a wonderful afternoon and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.